Okay, we are here with Ryuki Fujimoto, and he is Japan's absolute champion in the bench press. And he did this past summer 370 kilos or 815 pounds in the super heavy weight class. And keep in mind that he's doing this at 16 years old, so that's really, really incredible. He has beaten one of Japan's legends, Daisuke Midote, and that's a really big deal. Daisuke Midote did 353.5 kilos back in 2008, but Ryuki, 360 in Japan. Yeah, so yeah, I stand corrected. So I'm only going by what I see on allpowerlifting.com. So yeah, so again, 360, but Ryuki did the 370 kilo, which is 815 pounds. And if I want to use an analogy, I want to say that Ryuki is kind of like the crown prince of bench pressing in Japan. And I would call maybe Daiki Kodama the king of bench press in Japan. Obviously, he has a 4 times body weight bench press, and Ryuki just being just a phenom, or yeah, I want to call Ryuki a phenom. He's just really gifted. Probably one of the most gifted bench pressers of all time. Is considering that he's doing this kind of weight at 16 years old. And we also have a treat because a lot of Japanese lifters, they're not fluent in English, but Ryuki, I believe he told me that he was raised in California, so we're really lucky to have him, so he can give some insight and just explain, I guess, the culture of lifting in Japan. But again, Ryuki has done 370 kilos in the bench press. He's Japan's absolute champion in the bench press, meaning that no one in Japan has ever lifted more than him in the bench press. And he lifts in the JPA, which is an IPF affiliate which is the Japanese affiliate of the IPF. And again, no one has done this ever before in Japan. 370 kilos, again, which is not far off from the world record. Ryuki, is it for 1.5 kilos by Blaine Sumner? Okay, so also keep in mind that in training, Ryuki does, in the range of 400 to 405 kilos. So he's regularly handling that in training, but again, his best official is 370. So um, Ryuki Fujimoto, please introduce yourself. Again, you're 16 years old, which is incredible. Still a sub junior. So just introduce yourself and how you got into bench pressing.
Well, you kind of said it all, but I'm 16 years old. I'm from Japan. I I compete in the IPF slash JPA, and I've been training since I was 12, 13, and I've been competing since I was 14.
Wow. So altogether 4 years of training, and you're already at this insane level. So so when did you so were you born in Japan?
Yeah, I was born in Japan.
And how many years did you stay in the United States?
Uh, Three probably.
Oh wow, just 3 years.
Yeah, from when I was 7 to when I was 10. So
Wow, so that's incredible. So 7 to 10, stayed in California, and then came back, and again you have this
yeah,
great command of English. So that's great.
thank
So
you.
so so you started training when you were 12. So um,
Yeah.
that's incredible because a lot of I would say a lot of American lifters, they probably don't start training until 14 to 16 in that range.
hmm
So who introduced you to bench pressing?
Actually, nobody did, but I just watched YouTube, and Eric Spoto was big at that time
Oh,
for
really?
bench pressing
I see.
700.
Right.
Yeah, and I just saw that stuff, and James Henderson,
Yes,
the
yes. Yeah,
super heavyweight. Yeah,
yes.
and I just want to be that big and strong. So My mom bought me a weight set and a bench, which only went up to 75 kilos, and I outgrew it, so I went to a gym after that, and yeah, that's basically it.
So I understand you're in Hokkaido. How did you find this bench gym in Hokkaido?
Well, it's a powerlifting gym, but I just Googled, gym powerlifting.
Right, and you quickly became the best bench presser in the gym, obviously.
Yeah, it took me like, I don't know, 2 years maybe.
Wow. Okay, so how did you discover your bench pressing philosophy? Are you bench pressing 3 to 4 times a week right now?
4.
4 times. Okay,
Yeah.
and can you explain to us how you arrived at this type of training philosophy, like what you're doing for these 4 days? Because what I try to touch upon with other when I talk with from lifters of other countries, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of American lifters they only bench press 1 time per week, and again, me personally, and according to everyone else in the world, it's not enough bench pressing once a week. So, um, 4 times a week. Why do you do 4 times a week? And what's your philosophy behind training around now? Do you go to a maximum each session, or what do you do?
Well, I bench 4 times a week, and I go pretty heavy on 3 of those days, and that's like Saturday. Excuse me. Tuesday would be my heaviest day, and that would be pretty close, if not over a max single.
Mm-hmm.
Then Thursday would be minus 20 kilos of what I did Tuesday.
Okay.
Then Saturday, I would do 10 kilos above what I did Thursday, right?
Okay. Wow. So that's kind of halfway between Tuesday and Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then Tuesday, I go for that single, right? So
Right.
it's like a mini wave
Mm-hmm.
type deal.
Mm-hmm.
I like to call it that. And I continue that for 4 weeks
Okay. Wow.
and try to hit a PR, basically.
So that was 3 days. So the fourth day. Do you get in the bench shirt?
No, Thursday I get into the bench because that's the lowest raw intensity, so
Mm-hmm.
I can concentrate on the gear.
Right.
Sunday's my 4th day, and
Uh-huh.
it's just I might do squats, I might do speed benches.
Mm-hmm.
I just have fun in the gym, and I
So
do a lot of delt and tricep work, basically.
so Sunday is kind of a an accessory day, speed day.
Yeah.
So Tuesday you do your heaviest raw,
Yeah.
and then Thursday you go 20 kilos below that, but
Mm-hmm.
you may get into the bench shirt, and then
Yeah.
Saturday you go 10 kilo you go 10 kilo above Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Sunday is your lighter day, and you do accessories. So how much are you doing a lot of volume on those days, or like yeah? How would you say you organize the volume?
Well, I do a lot of 10 rep sets. This has worked for me. I don't know if it will work for anybody else. I haven't heard of too many powerlifters that stick with 10 reps,
Hmm.
but it's what works for me. And yeah, I do a lot of 10 rep sets.
Oh wow! So you like to get so how many of those would you do? Would you do 10 sets of 10 or 10 sets of
Not that many, but
right?
probably like uh, uh, maybe Anywhere from 1 to 5 sets.
1 to 5 sets.
But yeah, probably no more than 5.
Okay, so probably a maximum of 10 reps and 5 sets.
Yeah.
And you would do that again Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
Yes.
So you like to do sets of 10, and then you'll go 20 kilos up and 10 kilos 20 kilos down and then 10 kilos up from that. So you do a wave per week, and on Thursday you get into a bench shirt. But are you in the bench shirt year round or not really?
No, just when the shirt meet is closed. Like closed is like 3 months out or 4 months out.
Okay.
And if I'm prepping for a raw meet, I don't get into the shirt.
Right. So do you work to a heavy single a lot or not really? You try to stick with the volume for 10.
So the single for the Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
that I do for probably year round.
So you do that before you do your volume work?
Yes.
Oh, I see. So on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, you're still doing a heavy single, and then you're going down to do the volume.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, gotcha. So you always have some kind of pretty intense set on those 3 days.
Yeah, they're pretty heavy.
Right. So and then you drop down and do the volume for 10 afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's on each day.
Each day, yeah.
And you would say that not every Japanese lifter does this, correct?
Yeah, I don't think many people do 10.
Right.
Yeah, I can't think of any other Japanese top lifter.
But you would say that a lot of the top Japanese lifters, they lift pretty intensely almost every training session, right? I mean, they kind of have higher intensity to have the weight in their hands every week at least.
I guess so, but you don't see many people get that fired up for a lift as much as American lifters do.
Right.
But yeah, in Japan, lifters tend to be a little more calm.
Right.
Before a lift. That's kind of like the culture, maybe.
Right.
Not screaming and shouting, but it takes a lot of skill to do a bench in a shirt, so
right.
You can't get that hyped up. I believe so.
Okay, so your best equipped bench press is 370 kilos, but I saw in your results that at the past Worlds in 2016 that your best raw is 210, so that's a huge carryover, 160 kilo carryover.
Yeah.
So how do you maximize your shirt? So how do you? And I know your leverage is good, but what do you feel that makes you so skilled in the bench shirt?
Well, first of all, that raw was an opener.
Oh, okay.
I don't sound like I'm, I have 240 in the gym.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
So probably like 150 carryover, maybe.
150, about 330 pounds. So yeah, so 240 kilos. I mean, for a 16-year-old to do that is just unheard of. I mean, you're literally the only person in the world in your age that can do that.
Maybe.
I would say so. I mean, that's unheard of, but that's amazing. So you get around 150 kilos from the shirt. So what have you done to get such mastery out of the shirt? Because I understand that you prefer to use a stock shirt.
Yeah, I probably am genetically gifted to do the shirt because I got like 30 kilos the first time I got into the shirt. So, and yeah, the arch and the elbow positioning is crucial for the bench press.
Right.
Especially when you're in a shirt. And probably having a strong core.
Right.
For not breaking down when the shirt gets tighter and tighter.
Right.
That might be the most important when you're getting into these 400 kilo ranges.
So, who talked to you mostly about the shirt, or was it just through experience? I know you're in a powerlifting gym, but is there someone in particular that showed you a lot about the shirt?
Not in particular.
Not in particular.
But yeah, the guy in my gym showed me and lent me a shirt at first.
Mm-hmm.
Then I bought my own shirt.
Right.
And yeah, that's about it.
So you're probably the most extreme. I mean, you're obviously the most extreme bench presser in your gym, but you took the technique to the extreme because you're doing so much weight.
Yeah, maybe.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, it's incredible. So my feeling is that you did a lot as far as, I guess, self-learning. A lot of self-learning. Because no one in Japan is doing this kind of weight, and especially at this age, at 16 years old, is crazy. So you're doing. I mean, you have a lot of great mentors, but again, this is a lot through a self experience. So who are your favorite bench pressers in Japan right now, and do you talk to them on a regular basis?
Yeah, Kodama, Fujima.
Mm-hmm.
These are the top 3 guys in the Japanese bench press right now.
So Daiki
There's
Kodama.
No argue to that.
So Daiki Kodama.
Yeah.
Yuki Fukushima, and sorry, your third person.
Ueda Dashinji.
Yes.
Which is the 120 guy.
Yes.
The 120 world champion.
Yes. But you at 16 years old bench press more than all of them, which is amazing because they're.
I'm a super, so.
Yeah. But your Wilks is close to theirs, correct? It has to be.
Yeah, I believe so.
I see. So do you talk to them on a regular basis or not really?
Well, sometimes I message them about certain things, not really important things, but I just chat with them.
I see.
And when I meet up with them in a meet or a competition,
mm-hmm.
I'll speak to them.
Right. So I mean, they must be extremely impressed with you, just doing it at such a young age, because a lot of lifters they don't start lifting until maybe 14, 16, and you're already you've already achieved so much. So what insight have they given you? Because I understand Hideki Kodama, he bench presses every day, and I believe Shinji Ueda said he bench pressed same like you 4 times a week, and then I know Fukushima. This is what Hiroyuki Isagawa told me, that he bench presses 14 times a week. So yeah. So these guys are doing so much. So what have you gotten from them as far as the training philosophy goes?
Well, the number one thing is not to think about weight being heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So 300 kilos is heavy as hell, but a 74 kilo guy is doing that. So why can't I?
Right.
That's the philosophy that they have, and I picked up that, and yeah, I can't bench as often as them. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm younger, or maybe because I'm benching more
mm-hmm.
as far as absolute weight goes.
Right.
Yeah, but they're crazy. They're monsters. So.
Right, and again, they're much older than you. They're
probably.
Yeah, Fukushima's not that old, but yeah, I think Daiki is.
He's like 15 years older than me.
Right. So they have so much more training experience than you, but again, you have so little time compared to them, which is amazing.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. You're welcome. So let me see here. So we went over how many times you bench press per week, which is 4.
Mhm.
Um, you're in the USA for 3 years, so that's why you can do this interview. Let me see here. And yes, you do a relatively heavy single for each of those 3 days.
Yeah.
Do you have a year-round training plan, or do you take it more like a month at a time?
Well, at the start of each year, I have like numbers I want to hit, but they're like dreams rather than goals,
Hmm.
and they're not that strict goals.
Hmm.
But yeah, I have short-term goals, which I like to think are uh, fairly realistic, and yeah, I cycle towards that
Right.
goal, whether it be raw or geared.
So you kind of count on doing at least one international meet, and then you have JPA nationals. Do you do a small local competition to just to tune up, or?
Well, if the timing is right, I like to do it. And the 370 I hit isn't at nationals; it's a regionals meet.
Oh, I see, I see, I see.
Yeah, so I've done that, and I sometimes do Hokkaido meets, of course.
Yes. And so
Yeah, but
how often do they run meets in Hokkaido?
uh, twice, and they're doing it 3 times from this year.
Oh, okay. So you actually have 3 chances to live there without flying to Tokyo or anywhere else.
Yeah, but the thing is, they don't approve national records,
Right, right, right.
which is a weird thing because it's basically a huge island, so they should just make it into a regional block, but they haven't. So
Oh, so it's not recognized as a region in the JPA
no, it's recognized as a prefecture,
prefecture. Okay.
not a region. So it has to be at least a regional meet to break national records.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because I know here if we have 3 national referees, then you can set the national record at
Anywhere?
yeah, any meet.
Wow,
But
that'll be so
right,
nice.
but you have to have 3 national referees. I mean, the rule may have changed like very recently, but I mean, from what I know of, that's how we do it. Um, so
Okay.
so okay, outside of doing the straight bench press, what are your top assistance exercises?
Well, you have close grip to a board,
Hmm.
dead presses, uh, speed, pause. What else do I do? Ram,
The
the
RAM,
ram.
yes, yeah. So
Yeah,
what Fujimoto is referencing is the Titan RAM. It's kind of like a slingshot type device where you can overload.
yeah,
So, sorry, did you say dead presses?
yeah. Dead presses.
So you're doing it from a power rack, from like a completely still position. It's
Yes.
kind of like a pin press, right? I mean, same thing.
Yeah, pin presses.
Pin
Yes.
presses, okay. And do you do that? Do you do those very heavy or with moderate weight?
Yeah, I keep it light, higher reps, 8 to 10.
Okay,
It's a pretty weird position to be in,
right.
so I don't want to hurt myself. So
Do you do any really heavy raw board work or not really?
not really. The most I have done is a 250 single,
250 single,
which
okay.
isn't which isn't that heavy compared to my regular single. So
So you save your really heavy work to when you have the shirt.
well, Tuesday I go all out on raw bench press too, but
Hmm.
yeah, basically, if I'm training for a shirted meet, what matters is the shirt training and the shirt meat. So
Right.
yeah, I don't go too heavy on raw, but I go fairly heavy still.
So what's the absolute heaviest you've gotten in training? I mean, I see some with 405, but to the chest, what's your maximum in the gym?
Well, that 405 is probably the heaviest I've gone, and I haven't touched the chest that since that day. I broke the 370.
Right.
Then I've been doing light stuff with a loser shirt, so not hitting too much impressive numbers right now.
Right. So you're is it because of health issues or you just want to keep it light or?
Well, the number one thing is I don't want to bomb out of nationals.
Yes.
That's the number one thing because I bombed out of nationals last year.
Right, and that prevented you from going to Worlds, correct?
Yeah, and basically, if I get an opener in, I can win the meet. So.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just being super conscious of about not bombing out of the meet. So.
Right. So for those of you don't know, bombing out is not registering a lift during a competition. And again, that will result in a zero total. But in this case, in Fujimoto's case, he won't register a bench press. So I think same deal as United States as Japan. If you win your national event, then you get to go to Worlds. So
Yeah.
So that's what Fujimoto is referencing. So what happened at this past nationals where it caused you to bomb? What weight did you open with?
335.
Which is again very light for you. But did you get called on a technicality?
Well, that wasn't too light for me at that time. So.
Oh, I see.
I was I weighed 115, which is like 250 pounds.
Yes.
And I went against Rita.
Oh, I see.
And he opened with 350, and I had to go fairly heavy just in order to keep up with him.
Right.
And I've been hitting 335 fairly easy in the gym, but different benches and the meat, I just choked. Maybe.
Oh, I see. So how much? So I understand that you gained considerable body weight throughout these 4 years. So how many kilos? Yeah. So how many kilos did you start out with in your body weight?
Well, the first time I joined the gym was like I was like 59 kilos.
Oh my god. Okay. And now you're weighing how much?
136, 135. Around that range, so
okay, so you're around
about 300 pounds.
Yes, yeah. 135 is 297 pounds. So wow.
Yeah.
So you gained almost 170 pounds of body weight.
Yeah, I don't know in pounds, but probably about.
Wow. So again, just the weight gain and how tall are you? How many centimeters are you?
176.
So how tall is that? So how many is that in inches?
5'10".
5'10". Okay, wow. So you're kind of tall then. You're pretty tall.
I'm tall for a Japanese.
Right. So you're actually do you feel you're still growing in the height?
I'm probably starting to stop, but yeah, I'm probably still growing just about now.
So how many centimeters were you when you started the gym and when you're 59? Were you still around? You're probably shorter then, right?
Way shorter. 158 probably.
Oh, 158. Wow. Okay. So you grew. Wow.
Which is probably like 5'3". I don't know.
Wow. So you got a lot taller and you got a lot bigger. Obviously. I see. So
yeah.
So again, that's a huge factor in you adding so much weight to your bench press. So okay.
Yeah.
So let me see here. So you stated that initially on the internet that Eric Spoto and James Henderson were your initial, I guess, idols.
Mm-hmm.
So ironically, you actually looked up to these American lifters than this Japanese because you didn't know at the time, who was the best in Japan, correct?
Yeah, so I didn't know about Japanese powerlifting. I really didn't know what powerlifting was. I just watched these huge guys just bench pressing weight, and I don't know why, but I thought the bench press was the coolest, not the squat, not the deadlift, and I still
Right.
think that.
Oh yes, yes, yes. So so what inspired you to look at bench press to begin with? Just at all. I mean, so what's your very first memory of bench press?
Uh, I was kickboxing when I was like 11, 12,
Right.
and they had these cheap J bars
Yes.
at the gym, and I'd go in there alone and try to bench press. That was probably my first memory of bench pressing.
Right. And you were very light. You were 59 kilos.
No, no, I was probably less than that.
Oh wow, wow, wow. So
Yeah.
so so again, it was just being curious in the gym, and then you looked
Mm-hmm.
online, and you found
Yeah.
these monsters, and then you
And,
you searched for a local gym in Hokkaido, and then you found a gym.
yeah.
You borrowed someone's bench shirt, and then you just went going. You just kept going and more extreme. Right, and then from this, you develop your own training philosophy of doing 4 times a week. So that's something you
Mm-hmm.
completely came up by yourself, and you don't really talk too much training advice with these elite benchers from Japan. You just talk to them, more as friendly, and they give you the mentality,
Yeah.
not to approach a weight, not to think that a weight's heavy. Um,
Yeah, probably the not the programming stuff, but the mental aspect of competition is big on those guys.
Right, and I also noticed that almost all the elite bench presses in Japan, they all do the setup in the same way. So they get their traps right in the bench, and then they arch down,
Mm-hmm.
and then they. So is that like a I guess a cultural thing where everyone tries to emulate each other, or how can you explain that? Because in
Well,
America, everyone kind of does their own thing, but I know Japan is almost uniform, and as they're setting up on the bench press.
if you were to learn the bench press from a fairly serious athlete meaning powerlifter,
Hmm.
they would teach you that. So maybe it's a cultural thing,
Right.
not not the flat back, and that's probably why. Uh, I don't know any data on this, but probably less Japanese lifters have shoulder injuries
Oh,
because
okay.
they have huge arches. I don't know. I don't have any data on this, but my personal way of looking at it.
Because of how they're setting up and how they're locking into the position.
Yeah, they get they get the form down before they get the weight up. So
Right, right, right. So again, you think that's more cultural because in America generally people are out for themselves, so they do their own
yeah,
thing. But yeah, I mean, from what I'm seeing, I guess maybe it's a cultural aspect that uh, it's funny you said that because I was talking to the Taiwanese one of the Taiwanese head coaches, and he said we couldn't communicate that well, but because my friend wasn't there translating, but he said form first, power later.
yeah, exactly.
Right. So it's funny that you say that. So he said form first and power later. So, yeah,
That's what I heard. All the European countries do with the weightlifting.
yes, right, right,
Like they get them in 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, and they just make them snatch and clean and jerk. thousands of times with like a broomstick, basically.
Right.
That's what I heard.
I see. So okay, so I mean that's interesting because a lot of you know it's like a lot of times in America, you know, a lot of lifters, they may be because I would say that a lot of lifters they're kind of trained by themselves, so they
Mm-hmm.
tend to go more heavy than they have to. But I think you're right that the mentality of other countries is different, where they're trying to get their form down before they do any serious weights.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we need to have more of that mentality. And
Yeah.
so are there a lot of powerlifting clubs in Japan? Because in America it's kind of here and there, but I understand that other countries like like Sweden, Norway, Japan, you have a organized powerlifting club that everyone kind of trains together.
Well, the number of gyms, serious gyms in Japan is probably like the lowest. Probably
Oh, okay.
not that many serious powerlifting gyms, but yeah, you go to the U.S. and you see so many gyms in general, like whether it be Gold's Gym or just a fitness club,
Right.
Planet Fitness.
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we don't even have that kind of general fitness club. Fitness isn't too big in Japan, so
Oh, I see. I see. So actually, in actuality, you probably have a lot fewer general gyms, and you have not that many powerlifting gyms.
yeah, and less recognition for sure.
Less, I see. So I also understand that the Japanese government doesn't provide any funding to your travels
No,
or
no,
anything at all, anything like that.
nothing. I heard that there used to be prize money for winning world meets,
Okay.
but that I guess that changed too. Though.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, yeah, same thing in America. That everyone has to pay their own way. Everyone has to pay all their fees and expenses. But other countries, like Taiwan, they're awarding serious money, but they have government funding. So
Mm-hmm.
they may get around 20,000 US dollars for a gold medal, and then it just goes down
Wow.
from there. Around 10,000 US dollars for silver, and around
Mm-hmm.
maybe around 5,000 for bronze. Again, this is just an approximation because they have their Taiwanese dollars, but
Yeah.
it's really significant money, and it doesn't matter if you total or not. So you can actually bomb and get like for example a gold medal in bench press, and you still be awarded the money. So you actually have
Wow.
four chances to get money. But again,
Mm-hmm.
that's due to government funding. So they may send like specialists in deadlift or bench press,
Yeah.
just because they can get the money. So also
Right.
Eastern Bloc countries, in Europe, they may be financially awarded or recognized because I see a lot of posts online where they're recognized by their government body because
Mm-hmm.
they achieved certain things at a world meet. So again, it's just so different culturally. Culturally and also government funding wise, where you have lifters that are getting awarded monetarily. They have monetary gains.
Yeah.
Financial rewards for doing well at a meet. So again, I'm kind of also glad that it's it's like that in Japan because people have to have full time jobs. I know you're still a student, but people have to have full time jobs, and they have other responsibilities outside of lifting. So again, to me, it just makes it more impressive. And I understand that other lifters, for example, Takahito Akutsu, um,
Mm-hmm.
and other lifters, Daisuke Madote and Daiki Kodama. They all have gyms. And am I pronouncing it right? Kobayakawa?
Uh, Kobayakawa.
Yeah.
That's the 83 kilo powerlifter. I've never met him.
Oh, you have. It's funny. I met him. I met him 2 times already. But yeah, he also owns a gym,
Oh,
correct?
yeah, he owns a gym from what I hear.
Right. You know, a lot of times these lifters they own some kind of small gym, and they probably don't make a lot of money from it.
Well, enough to make a living,
Oh,
probably.
oh, I see. Okay, so
But they're not millionaires, so
right, so it's not like they're making money off the memberships, maybe off the personal training or whatever.
yeah, just enough to live, probably,
Yeah,
and go
right.
go to international meets, obviously.
Right. So I mean, you know, they love what they do because you know, in general, you know, if you have a powerlifting gym, you're not going to make money off the membership because you're not going to have many members to begin with. So you may
Yeah,
about break even, and then any services that you have on top of that, you're making some money.
mm,
But yeah, I mean, you know, from what I understand, you know, everyone is either you know, a gym owner or they're running a business or they have a normal job.
yeah,
Yeah.
a personal trainer or
Right.
that's pretty big in Japan.
Oh, it is.
Personal training,
Oh,
yeah.
I see. Okay.
Most of the guys I know that are fairly strong in the bench press, if they're not on a regular job, they're personal trainers, basically.
Oh, I see. Okay. So, you know, to wrap this up, you know, we pretty much covered all the bases here. But what advice can you give for young aspiring powerlifters?
Well, I'm one myself, so
Right.
I'd like my advice.
Right.
Yeah, I like advice from all the top powerlifters, but one thing I can say is get the form down right first, then worry about the weight. That's probably the most important thing I've learned from being in the sport for 4 years, maybe. But
So
yeah,
I mean, so you're not really concerned about with you know how are you training, but you know, definitely you want to bench press more than once a week, right?
way more than once a week.
Right.
It's just not enough. You you basically don't need a week to recover from a bench press workout.
Right.
Uh,
So I think that's the mentality that a lot of American listeners they have. You know, oh, I have to rest a week, or I have to rest 72 hours, or blah 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 blah.
yeah,
But you're saying
overtraining.
right, yes. So
Yeah.
you're saying one time a week is not enough, and maybe someone starting out, how many times should they be bench pressing per week?
Well, granted that got the form down right, they could probably do three.
Okay, and they don't have to
Not
go heavy,
not
right?
all.
I mean, they don't have to go heavy.
Yeah, not all of them have to be heavy, but twice a week is heavy, and 1 week is light form training.
Right.
That
So
would be ideal for a beginner,
so,
probably.
so you're kind of emphasizing that it's not really you're training the muscle, you're training the you're practicing the form. It's more technique than you know, you're using your muscles or whatnot.
Yeah. So if you have like a 300-pound ripped muscular guy benching 500, but he's flat backed, he's flaring, he doesn't know anything about form, that guy would probably be harder to coach than absolute beginner,
Right.
right? So, having muscle mass is very important. I especially think that because I'm a super heavyweight and all of the guys that compete against me are just massive monsters. But what is important before that is form. So
Right. So form and try to practice, you know, reasonably often per week is what you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah. So if you're playing soccer, for example, you're not practicing once a week, right?
Right.
You're practicing 4 or 5 weeks,
Right.
days a week. So that should be the same way with bench press. I believe so.
I see. I see. So are you looking to get into full power, or are you just going to stick with the bench press?
Well, I'm not that interested in full power.
Right.
No
Right.
disrespect to the full power guys, but
Right.
that's just the way I am.
Right.
Yeah, I skip leg day, so.
Right. Okay, so I think that's about it. I think we pretty much covered everything, and maybe for last thing, what are the major cultural differences between the USA and Japan? I mean, maybe not powerlifting wise, but in general, what you've noticed.
Well, in the U.S., people are nicer, I guess.
Really? Okay.
When you're, well, like when you meet them in the elevator,
Mm-hmm.
you don't even know them, and they say hi.
Right.
How you doing?
Mm-hmm.
You don't get that in Japan.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, Japan's much safer, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, U.S. is safe depending where you are, but yeah. So okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah. I used to live in San Francisco, so it was
right, a lot of druggies.
A safe place, but
Yeah.
I hear a lot about the bad places too. So
Right. Yeah, I haven't been to San Francisco, but what I understand, like, there's some crime there, a little bit, right?
well, there's some crime in every
Right.
area of the world. So
Right. Gotcha.
but I believe it's minimal. I was a kid, so I don't
Right.
know, but
Right. Okay, so do you like living in Hokkaido or San Francisco more?
San Francisco.
Okay, so
Just the
you
weather.
the weather. I see.
Yeah, it's snowing just right now outside, and it's like -5 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but
Right,
it's cold.
it's cold. Yes.
Yeah.
And do you think the food's better? I mean, the food's way better in Hokkaido than San Francisco, or about the same?
Well, the funny thing is, I like American food, so
Right.
I prefer American food, but probably the quality of the food is way higher in Hokkaido than in America.
Right.
So-
Right. Oh, I see. So okay, so sorry, we didn't discuss this, but going from 59 kilos to 135 kilos, what were you eating? Were you just eating more, or eating, like what was your plan for that?
Well, at first I was a heart gainer, believe it or not.
Right.
So I ate whatever I could, as much of it as I could.
Right. Well, so I mean, a lot of protein, a lot of chicken.
Yeah, a lot of protein, a lot of carbs, a lot of fats, a lot of everything.
Right.
At first,
Right.
and now I'm pretty big, but I'm pretty fat.
Right.
I'd like to clean up my diet more.
Right.
Cut out some of the fats and up the protein, maybe.
Right. So you don't want to get much over 140 kilo body weight.
Well, that depends on how I look. I don't care about the look, but
Right.
that's probably a good indicator of how much muscle mass versus how much fat you're carrying.
Right.
And I don't want to be dead by 40. So
Yes. Yeah. I noticed that a lot of powerlifters that they don't care about what they eat. They have a lot of health problems. They have a lot of health problems when they're around 40.
yeah.
Yeah. So.
But I like I do like to eat. So
Yes. I like to eat too. It's just I can't eat as much as you. Yeah.
I picked that up from you.
Right.
Keep on talking about sushi. So
Yeah. I love sushi. It's
yeah.
it's very expensive, but it's very good. I mean, you can't have it all the time.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. Also, is sushi fairly expensive? I know there's the conveyor sushi, but if you have omakase, it's quite expensive in Japan.
Yeah, well, the quality of the sushi is, various. So,
Right.
but the really expensive ones are unbelievably high. So.
Oh yeah. I saw 300,000 yen.
300,000 yen.
Yeah, for a meal I've seen before for omakase.
Really?
Yeah, that's the place I want to go to. Yeah, it's good.
Oh, the
Yes,
one you
yeah,
talked about?
yeah. Sukiyabashi Jiro.
Where is it? Tokyo?
Toki, yes, it's like
Okay.
a it's like a subway stop, subway station.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So 300,000 yen to eat for one person. So
That's
if I
great.
go there, I'll invite you. It's on me. It's on me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you, my girlfriend, we go. We spend
Nice,
we
nice.
spend 1 million yen. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So.
And you can't afford the flight back,
No,
right?
no. Yeah, I'm a lot older than you, so yeah, I can cover it. But yeah, but
Nice.
okay, I think that pretty much covers it. So I just want to
Yeah.
do a quick recap here. So you start training around 12, and you were kickboxing, and you just started to screw around with the bench press.
Oh, and the one thing I get a lot about is my arch
Yes,
flexibility.
right.
And I used to do gymnastics when I was in the U.S. and a little bit when I was in Japan. So that's where I got the arch,
The arch.
probably.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so you have a gymnastic background, and that's how you gain some flexibility in your technique.
Yeah.
But so basically, you started at 12 years old, and
Mm-hmm.
you started by just screwing around after kickboxing, and then you discovered
Yeah.
YouTube, and you saw these monsters, James Henderson and Eric Spoto.
Mm-hmm.
And Eric Spoto hasn't been doing competitive lifting, recently. I don't think, but basically,
Yeah. He injured himself.
right, right. So basically, you looked up to these guys, and then you got to a local gym. Searched on the internet, got to a local gym,
Mm-hmm.
and you had some help there. So you got into bench shirt, and these past 4 years, you've been training like crazy, and then
Yeah, basically.
right. So and then you're competing at a high level, and again, you didn't have these three guys, Kodama, Fukushima, or Ueda. They're not like mentoring you per se like every day, but you have some good advice from them.
Yeah.
And again, the Japanese community is really impressed with your progress. Along with the world. And sorry. The last thing we didn't touch upon. How did you develop your relationship with Titan Support Systems?
Oh, well, after the World Meet, where I benched 295 at 105 kilos.
Was that in Sweden?
Yeah, that was in
Yes.
Sweden. After I got back to Japan, my friend told me about some Japanese lifters that were sponsored.
Right.
And, like, you might want to email them.
Mm-hmm.
And I emailed them. And they were kind enough to let me be the part of the team.
Yeah, sponsored athlete.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it all went down. So.
Yeah, and my personal experience with Isaiah, Pete and Isaiah, they're really generous, very nice guys. So they really want to help the sport progress. So I think what they're doing for the sport is just really fantastic.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
I've never met them in person, obviously.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, okay.
No, because I've never been to Texas, and
Right.
so.
Because usually they're here at national meets, so I mean I see them multiple times a year. Yeah. So yeah, I mean actually this past Worlds, this is actually the first time I talked to Pete in person, but again, a super nice guy. And he really wants to, and actually his favorite lifter is Hideki Inaba. You know Inaba?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never met him. He's retired way before I got into the sport, but he's a legend, you know.
Oh yeah. So he's a number one,
probably the
number one legend in Japan.
Powerlifter in Japan.
Right. Yeah, I mean it's hard for a Japanese lifter to win the full power. I mean I know you guys win like every year at the bench press, but the full power is very very difficult to win. Yeah.
We can't squat and deadlift, so.
Right. I think genetically, I think the leverage Maybe Japanese have
Yeah,
shorter arms in general. In general,
shorter limbs,
yeah, shorter limbs. Yes.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and a longer torso.
Right.
So,
Right. Right. Okay.
so
So.
we're
So yeah. Okay. Let's see. So. You would say, across, like, probably the country, there's a lot of different training philosophies, but generally they go fairly heavy and bench press, again, more than once a week. And that's it in general, right? I mean, they're bench pressing. Yeah.
Because doing my rep scheme might not work for you, and
Of
doing
course. Yeah.
your rep scheme for me might not work for me. So that's probably not the most important thing.
Right.
But I do think that you should do heavier singles more often.
Right. Right.
Once you get the form down, it's crucial to not have the form breakdown when you get under heavy weight.
Right. So you would say, in order of priority, form, frequency, and then intensity.
Yeah.
Yeah, those three things.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
And everyone can do perfect form with the bar. That's
Of course. Right.
Yeah. So.
And I like to say this: everyone can bench the bar every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Because the intensity is so low, but again, it's important to get the frequency. So. So yeah, I mean, I think that's all the questions we have now. And again, if you guys, if anyone watching this has more questions for Fujimoto, I can always Skype again. And again, if we have like enough questions, then we can definitely run another Skype session. But again, in summary, Fujimoto, he kind of started out like the rest of us, kind of discovered lifting somehow, and then he looked on the internet, saw some inspiration. He joined a local gym where he had some help. And then, along the way, he gained experience, get bench shirts and all that. And again, just going to these meets, meeting the other lifters, just like we all do, gain experience and just become, better lifters by, just gaining experience and doing competitions. And sorry, okay, so last question before we go: what size bench shirt do you wear, and how big is your chest?
48. And my chest size, I don't know in inches, probably like 135 centimeters.
Okay, so maybe comparable to your chest size. And I understand you don't modify the shirt in any way.
No, I've tried it, but the biggest lifts I've hit are in a stock super katana. So
I gotcha. Okay, so
I don't know how that works, but
right. Yeah, I would say the more experienced geared lifters here in America, we definitely have a tailor and we adjust our suits and all that. But again, if you can do it in a stock shirt, then by all means, doing the stock shirt. Obviously, it's working for you. Okay, so again, I want to thank. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, one thing I want to put out there is my dad's 130 pounds. My mom's 110 pounds.
Right.
And they're both like 5'5".
Right.
So I'm not genetically gifted to be this big. So
right.
I think anyone can get this big or this fat.
Right.
But yeah, people keep asking me whether my dad's this big or not. So.
I see. Okay, so. Again, I want to thank Fujimoto so much for taking his time and doing this interview, and hopefully
thank you.
Oh no, thank you. And again, I think hopefully someone gets something from this. Just know that training frequently and getting the form down is so important to becoming a better lifter. Probably one time a week is not cutting it, and again, that's just not how the best bench pressers in the world do it. So again, I just want to thank Fujimoto, and just keep in mind that he is only 16 years old. He has already achieved a 370 kilo bench press, and he hopes to break 455 kilos in a few years.
Hopefully.
Yeah, which I think is possible. So I mean, you may be looking at an interview where his future self has achieved something unimaginable, 455 kilos in the IPF. So again, I just want to thank Fujimoto so much for his time, and then we will definitely run another interview if we have enough questions. So again, Fujimoto, thank you so much for your time. I'll put in
no problem, man.
I'll put in your clips in the interview so people don't get too bored looking at our faces. But yeah, again, thank you so much, and then we will definitely set up something else if we get enough questions. So again, thank you so much, Fujimoto.
Thank you.
Okay.